May is Stroke Awareness Month in the United States. June is Stroke Awareness Month in Canada. Regardless of the month, we need to do a better job of raising awareness, educating people, and generating discussion about what a stroke is, what a stroke looks like, and what to do in that particular situation. Now, what is a stroke? A stroke happens when blood stops flowing to the brain. And when that happens, the cells of the brain start to die very rapidly. If the blood stops flowing because of a blockage or a blood clot, that's called an ischemic stroke. And that's the most common type of stroke. Or if the blood stops flowing because a blood vessel bursts and there's bleeding in the brain, that's called a hemorrhagic stroke. Now, what are the signs of a stroke? You may have seen the acronym FAST, F-A-S-T. F stands for face. Is a part of the face drooping to one side? A quick way to check is to try to smile. A, are either of the arms feeling numb or tingling or weak? A quick way to check is to raise both arms. And if one arm drops, that could be a sign. S stands for speech. How is your speech? Is it clear? Or is it mumbled or jumbled? Or are you speaking nonsense words? And T stands for time. Time to call 911. It is not time to get in your car and drive to the hospital or ask someone else to drive you to the hospital. You need to call 911. Over the years, as we've learned more about stroke, this acronym has expanded to B FAST. B stands for balance. Did you suddenly lose your balance or coordination? Are you feeling dizzy? E stands for eyes. Did you suddenly have vision problems such as double vision? So when you think about stroke, I want you to think about this acronym B FAST. So this is progress. We've identified more signs of stroke. We've come up with simple, catchy acronyms for people to remember. However, there's another letter that's missing from this acronym, the letter A, and that stands for any. A stroke can happen to anyone at any age at any time. And understanding this can be a game changer. It could mean the difference between life and death. So I wish, if it were up to me, I would add an A to this Be Fast. Now I know that Be Fasta sounds kind of weird, but I would have a big circle with the letter A from top to bottom, kind of like the Avengers logo. And then I would write Be Fast in that. And that would be the national, or the global symbol for stroke. And this A is so important because the more we understand what a stroke looks like and how a stroke presents itself, then that means more lives can be saved. And that means that there could be better outcomes for stroke survivors. A stroke can happen to anyone. Yes, there are risk factors, and here are just a few of those risk factors. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, smoking, drinking, drugs, physical inactivity. When my husband had a stroke, he had none of these risk factors. And physical inactivity, my husband, he went swimming 3 times a week, yoga 5 times a week, and he walked 2 or 3 times a week for long distances. A stroke can happen at any age. Gone are the days when we used to think that a stroke is just something that happens to your grandmother or someone's grandfather. Yes, there are higher risks for people who are older. So about 75% of strokes happen to people who are over 65. But that means there's about 25% of people younger than that who are getting strokes. And that's not a small percentage. In the past 10 years, the incidence of stroke in young adults has increased by 15%. So we need to understand that a stroke does not distinguish by age. I never thought that my husband at the age of 52 could have a stroke. But you know what? It's not just me. Do you know how many times people have said to me, wow, he's so young, only 52, and he had a stroke? And even a couple of times, I've heard nurses or other medical professionals mention 52, so young to have a stroke. I think we need to stop saying things like that, or even thinking that this age is too young for a stroke, or this age is too old for a stroke. What's the appropriate age to have a stroke? When we truly understand what a stroke is, then age has nothing to do with it. It can happen at any age. Now, any time. It could happen at any time. I have heard of stories of people having strokes while they're taking a nap or while they're sleeping at night. It happens during those times as well. For my husband, he went swimming in the morning and he came home. He was feeling good. He fixed himself lunch. We said goodbye. The girls and I left for an hour and 15 minutes. And during that time is when he collapsed and he had a stroke. So something like this happens in the blink of an eye. You don't expect it and you're not prepared for it. So we've talked about what a stroke is and what the signs are. Now, what do if you think you're having a stroke or someone around you might be having a stroke? Call 911 and say the word stroke. Whether it's I'm having a stroke or someone is having a stroke, or even if it's I think someone is having a stroke because you're not sure, just say the word stroke and they will be there before you know it. You need to trust the process. Don't try to drive yourself to the hospital. Don't try to drive someone else to the hospital. It is not worth it. Why? Because minutes matter. Well, forget minutes, seconds matter. Time is brain. And here's a really interesting but yet scary fact. Every minute that your brain does not have oxygen, 1.9 million brain cells die. For every minute that your cells don't have what they need, 1.9 million of them die. Now, what does that mean? I don't really know what that means. It sounds like a huge number, but to help quantify this, think about it this way. For every hour without treatment after you have a stroke, the brain loses as many neurons as it does in 3.6 years of aging. I'm going to read that again because when I first read this, I was like, whoa, okay. For every hour after a stroke that you go without treatment, the brain loses as many neurons as it does in 3.5 years of aging. So minutes matter, time is brain. Call 911 and trust the process. And I would love if you could comment below if you've experienced something like this, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, but more importantly, share this video with the people in your lives, because the more we spread awareness, the more we educate, the more lives we can save. Thank you so much.